Golf News RI presents the Golf Dudes Podcast. Here are the dudes.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Golf Dudes Podcast. I'm Joe Calabro. Rich is having some technical difficulties, and so it looks like it's just going to be me tonight. He's trying to go remote, and it's not working out. So hopefully he'll get in to join us, but if not, here I am. Let me just give you 1 second to get this video shared out to everyone. Oh, 5 people watching right off the jump. All right. Hello, everyone. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Caitlin, my mother, and 2 other people who are watching Golf Dudes Podcast. And Pat Ford is here across the way. So anyway, big show today. One way or the other, we have a couple of packages that I want to play. A complete RA Amateur preview coming up throughout the day. The whole show basically is going to be dedicated to the RA Amateur. Before we get started there, as Rich makes his way back in. Hello, Rich. How are you?
Oh, jeez, man. I'm having a day.
Apparently.
Are we good? There we go.
Yeah.
All right. My apologies. Yeah, not doing too bad. Had a little bit of worky today. Couldn't play golf. But other than that, not too bad. I got the next 3 days off. It sucks that it's going to be crappy weather out the next day or so. But yeah, everything's not bad. How about you?
I am just peachy. Just looking forward to next week. Looking forward to next week. Edited videos all afternoon. Got my sprinklers fixed at home finally, and here we are.
Oh, geez.
And now I'm
That
sitting
took a
across.
while. Only a week.
Yeah,
Only a week later.
yeah, tell me about it. No, like a month later. You don't even know this half the story. Anyway, we're not getting into that now. That'll be for later. Anyways, lots to get into. RA Amateur Week coming up in just a few days away, and it's been funny. I've been talking to all these guys the last week or so, including last weekend, and it's funny. I'm telling these guys that I'm as excited about it as they are, and I'm not even playing. So I don't know how you feel about it with just a couple days left until the amateur begins. But what's your excitement level?
I think I'm a little more excited just because I know 10 of the guys that are going to be in it. So it definitely brings a little bit more excitement to it than I normally would have, because I don't really know a lot of the other competitors, but it's nice to see guys that I actually physically have like a relationship with, and being able to root them on,
Absolutely. There's about 14 Kirkbrey guys. 2 of the Kirkbrey guys don't actually have Kirkbrey listed as their course, but they're members. And one of those is Brad Valoy, and who, by the way, quickly before we get to the amateur, into a complete breakdown of the amateur, quickly congratulations to Davis Chatfield and Brad Valoy on making the U.S. amateur, which is going to be in August at Oakmont. So at least 2 Rhode Islanders are going to be in the tournament. We'll see how Patrick Welch does in his qualifier, whenever that is. So anyway,
that's a pretty easy course to play at,
Yeah.
Right.
Easy for who? Anyways, so I just wanted to give a quick put a quick note on that. We had that story up on Tuesday. Actually Wednesday, because they got a rain delay. So anyway, enough of the nonsense. Let's get into it. RA Amateur. I want to start. We have a bunch of different segments. The next 40 minutes or so, we're going to talk about course strategy and setup. We're going to hear from, obviously, the guys from who I interviewed for the RA Amateur series. I'm going to give you a few must-see groups, a few Golf News RI featured groups, if you will. And then we're actually going to tell the folks the best places to watch the amateur while at Kirkbrey. For those who've never been there, there's a few hot spots. Rich, I know you're familiar with some of them, where it's the best. There's no better place to stand and watch golf, and you can see multiple holes without having to walk, 2 miles. So we're going to get into all of that as the show goes on. And if you have any comments or thoughts, obviously feel free to chime in. But let's get into course strategy. I was fortunate enough earlier this week to play in a practice round with a couple of the guys. It was pretty fascinating to see these guys play the course. Specifically, I played with Joe Santinello and I can't think of the other guy's name. Oh, John Cannon. Sorry, my fault. I had a brain fart. And so I played with them on Tuesday afternoon. We got rained out after the 15th hole, but at least they got 14 holes in. So that's good.
It's just
so
par for the course with this rain, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's kind of been the story of the summer. So I was fortunate enough to play in a practice round with these guys on Tuesday afternoon, following the interview with Paul Quigley, and it was pretty interesting. Cannon was writing down notes after every single hole of what to do. We were telling, he was asking us about the strategy and the greens and stuff, and so that was kind of interesting. I wanted to see if he would send me the notes so I could post them like anonymously, just to, because I think people would be interested in that. But then it started like downpouring, and I didn't feel like I don't think it would have been appropriate to. Hey, by the way, it's pouring out, but can I take a picture of your phone? I don't think that would have worked out too well. So anyway, course strategy. One thing is to keep in mind is the first 2 days is a stroke play event. Top 32 make the cut to match play. One of the topics of conversation over the last few days has been what's going to be the cut? What number is going to be the cut? Specifically, the guys I were playing with. So I got two different answers basically on this, and I'll let Rich weigh in with his thoughts. But the guys I was playing with said it's going to be under 150, so a total score of 150, basically for the 2 days.
Total score of 150.
It's going to be under 150. So then I talked to, so I saw Derek Audette on Tuesday because he was working out, and I was working in the card room for a short time, and he said the number is going to be 139, 140 for the 2 days. So what do you?
Oof.
It all depends on who's going to go.
So that's
low,
what.
but.
So 140, 70, 70. Jeez. How many? How big's the field?
So there's 125 guys in the stroke play portion.
Oof.
The top 32 make the match play. So that's a fascinating topic.
So he's thinking that maybe like 140 is going to be the cut. So
right,
you're gonna shoot 77. I'm thinking probably like 145, maybe like 144, 145.
Yeah. So it could be somewhere in between. We'll see. What
I mean, you got to figure the Kirkbride guys are going to go low those 2 days. Well, actually the whole week, because they have course knowledge in hand. So, I mean, that could significantly lower the cut line. So yeah, maybe Derek's right. Maybe about 140.
So that's one interesting thing. And the other interesting tidbit that I picked up, which I think you're going to get a kick out of this, and then we have a package I want to play with these guys talking about the strategy and kind of the course setup real quick. But you're going to get a kick out of this. This is a Golf News RI exclusive tidbit. I found out I was told that the sixth hole at Kirkbride, that will be playing as a par four. This one plays a par four for these guys.
From the back?
Yeah, it's gonna play about a 500-yard par four. That's what they're saying.
From the back tees, the new tee box.
Yep. Yes, sir.
Fantastic.
So that could be a hole to watch.
Oh, that's gonna be great, dude. That's right in the middle of everything. That's right in the middle of the course. You can get multiple greens, multiple tee boxes. That's fantastic.
So that's
what do you got? What do you have right there? You've got one green, 6 tee, obviously, 5 green. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's we'll talk about the hot spots in a little bit, but that's a big hot spot right there. I cannot believe that it's going to be a 4. Oh man, That's going to be awesome.
And from the back tee, so amazingly, I told you this in a text message. So you and I obviously talk all the time, but the amazing thing is, I played when we played Tuesday. When I played Tuesday, I played from the back tees with these guys. I played from the golds, and there was, some of the tees, as you know, aren't a huge difference. But some tees, I was like, where the hell am I? I need like a map to get back to the golf course.
That tee box is across the road, bro.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah,
like, come on.
I played from way back there on Tuesday. No 4 irons. Not too many 4 irons were hit from back there. I can assure you. I was saying
oh my God.
So that's a little Golf News RI exclusive tidbit about how the course is going to play for the amateur. The 6th hole we'll be playing is a 500-yard, 490, but who's counting, par 4. So that's what we got. I want to get to this package that I edited today, sound bites from the RA Amateur Series.
Wow.
With these guys talking about the course setup and things. And then we'll get back to some of this. I know Scotty Boulis has a comment for us, which we'll get to in a second. But let's roll a package on course strategy and see what these guys have to say. And we'll be right back in a couple minutes to break it down.
The standpoint of how they set the tournament up on a year-to-year basis, 2 days of stroke play, you're not going to get anything crazy. You're going to see the tees will be back, but they won't be in crazy spots. The pins will probably be in pretty benign positions, to get 125, 130 guys around the golf course. But you may see a couple tricky ones. The good thing is, as a Kirkbride member, you'll be able to identify them pretty quickly and just have a better idea of how to play to those and avoid the big number.
When the RIGA goes in there and sets up a course, they don't set it up the same way as a member might see it on every weekend when they play. I know when the AM was at Metacomet, I was a Metacomet member, and it played completely different. And it really? it can almost hurt some of the hometown guys because they're so used to that course playing that way. When they set it up differently, you're used to playing it one way, and now it's almost like a whole new course.
And then it also depends on the weather. I mean, if it's wet and it's soft, then Kirkbride plays very different. If it's a little firmer and ball, doesn't come spinning off every green, you can kind of take aim at a lot of targets. Otherwise, you kind of have to go in there controlling your spin or hitting it to fronts of greens and just accepting that, there's, 4 or 5 legit birdie opportunities, and then the rest of them you're just trying to make par. And
I got to be honest with you, it's 2 completely different animals. I mean, we redid 7, 8, right. 18, 13, 9 yeah. Twice. Yeah.
If it's set up to typical Kirkbride standards, then it's probably a little advantage to being a Kirkbride member. But is it gonna be a difference of winning a state am or not? Maybe not. I mean, local knowledge always helps.
The local knowledge will still be there as a benefit for the members and people who get to play a lot, but I don't think it will be as much as it was back then, because I think the greens were much more difficult back then.
All right, that was some of the clips from the RA Amateur Series. Obviously, you heard a bunch of different guys there talking about course setup and strategy. Hamilton was interesting, and this goes into Scotty's comment. It says the greens or the pin placements are going to be kind of benign in the first 2 days because obviously they want to get these guys around. Rich Scotty Boulis chimes in. He says the greens are slow. The scores will be low. Oh, he rhymes. He's a poet. He didn't even know it. I'm assuming the weather gets nicer. I feel like the greens aren't going to be that slow come Monday. They're going to speed these things up, I would think. But obviously, if there's weather,
well, it's supposed to rain. It's supposed to rain tonight, tomorrow, sprinkle on Saturday. It's supposed to be all right Sunday, and Monday and Tuesday it's supposed to 30-40%. But I mean, if the greens still have moisture in them, they might be like how we played on Thursday. They might not be like super glass fast. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how quickly they can dry them out, and how quickly they can get the.
And I mean, and like you said, that bodes into the question of where the cut's gonna be. All these guys might go super low because they can go pin hunting. So I mean, who knows where the cut's gonna be at that point? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and then the other question is, if the greens are slow and they can't get them sped up, do they put the pins in trickier locations than they normally would?
You have to.
To protect the course.
Absolutely. So, no question about it.
So that was interesting. And so, again, talking RA Amateur here. If you have any RA Amateur thoughts, feel free to chime in. We're doing the whole show basically on the RA Amateur. Next week, next Thursday, the plan, tentatively, is to go live from the RA Amateur on Thursday night following a long day of golf. They're playing two matches to get ready for the semifinals. They're playing the second round in the morning and then the quarterfinals in the afternoon. So it'll be a big day of golf to recap. The plan is to tentatively go live from Kirkbride on next Thursday night, but we'll let you know that for sure when that gets a little bit closer. But that is the tentative plan because we're going to be there most of the day. Joel Bassett says, sounds like 6 will be one of the hardest holes on the course. What will be the must birdie hole this week? The must birdie hole for the amateur is going to be what? I would say 4, the par 3. Oh, they're going to play it way back. They're going to play it.
I'm going to say
back.
4. Yeah. 4. Nine's going to be really hard from the tips. Like if you tip it out, 9's going to be really difficult, especially if they put when they put the flag behind the bunkers to the left. That's going to be insane. Or up on that top shelf behind the bunkers, up on the top. So I'd say must birdie holes 4. 1 absolutely has to be a birdie hole, no question about it. Because a lot of these guys, even if you tip them out, on 1, a lot of these guys can either drive the green or put it right in front of the green. So it's got it. 1 is the number 1 have to have birdie hole. Absolutely, no question about it.
The guy I played with on Tuesday, John Cannon, he put his tee shot in the bunker on the right on 1 from the tips. We were playing there. They weren't all the way. They weren't all the way back, but they were pretty far back.
No, that's still a bomb. That is a freaking missile.
So it was quick story. We were looking for his ball in the rough on the right, and we couldn't find it. So he walks up further. He goes, "Oh, sorry, I'm in the bunker." I'm like, "Oh, I'm not used to looking for balls way up there."
yeah, right. Like, oh, excuse me. So I'm thinking, so 1's definite, 4's definite.
2.
Yeah, 2. Those guys should be able to put. Those guys should be in gap wedge territory, like maybe like a 60-degree wedge, depending on where the pin is. Probably
16.
Probably 3, right? 2, the par 5.
3 is a par 5. They can get there in 2, probably.
3, they can get there in 2 easily. A lot of those,
a
bunch of those guys can
Not
get there.
everybody, but
16.
Before 17 and 18.
Yeah, maybe 6.
17 and 18 are gonna be dangerous holes. 16 might be a need to have.
Yeah, 16. A lot of those guys hit the ball high, so there's no reason why they can't be in the rough next to the green or on the green or in the front of the green. So here's a must birdie hole. Then I want to get on to some of the must see groups. We'll go a little longer today because we got off to a late start. But must birdie hole 12. Have to have it. The par 5 is like the easiest par 5 in the state. Remember 10? Oh yeah.
The corner,
11, straight up.
12.
Oh yeah.
12 is the must birdie hole of the tournament. That's your answer.
Yeah. So 1 and 12 are 1 and 2 right there, and then I'd probably say 4 because that hole can get a little bit tricky if you tip it out. Especially where they put the bunker. So yeah, I'd say 1, 12. Yeah, 1, 12, and 4. I think you got to have, and probably 16.
Absolutely. Joe Kayada says, big fan of the show. Hello, Joe Kayada. Look forward to hanging out with you next week at the Amateur.
Hello, Joe.
Scott Bula says, my money is on Mike Hamilton because he's dreamy and hits it 350 yards. So take that for whatever it's worth. Anyway.
Yeah. Little insider information there.
Must see groups. I don't know if you studied the tee sheet at all. If not, I'll just go through this quickly. I tried to pick groups
through it quick.
I tried to pick groups that were interesting and had interesting pairings. So, for example, one group that I think is going to be really fun to watch, and they tee off at 12 p.m. on Monday. So we'll watch the whole round. Mike Hamilton, Scotty's boy, is playing with Max Jackson and Bruce Hedrick. Anyone that's followed amateur local golf this year knows about Max Jackson. The kid is ridiculous. He's on pace to be the next Rhode Island Phenom. He just won the state championship. That's how he got into the amateur. He probably would have qualified anyway. Then obviously Mike Hamilton is a friend of the program, but also he's the RI stroke play champion. A lot of people picking him to win. So I thought that was a fascinating group. That'd be a cool pairing. The second group, I picked out 4 groups just so everyone knows. The second group I have is Andrew O'Leary, Derek Audette, and Seamus Fennelly. Obviously, Andrew O'Leary is the only notable collegiate playing in the tournament. He's been to the final each of the last 2 years. He set the course record last year at Pawtucket during the stroke play event. He shot like 61 or something at Pawtucket last year. Set the course record.
That's a good threesome too.
So he's been to the finals each of the last 2 years. Won in 2019, lost to Jamie Lukowicz last year. So I think that's a fun group. The other group is, and I have a funny reason for picking this group, is Joe Santinello, Brad Stever, and RJ Murphy. Joe Santinello is the guy I played with on Tuesday, and the only reason I put that group in there is because my dad is caddying for him, carrying the bag, baby. So
Yes.
you just have to go watch my dad caddy.
Yes.
So
Oh,
there's
that's
that.
fantastic.
So there's that
That's
one.
awesome.
And then the last group I picked, again, I tried to find interesting pairings. I picked Bobby Leopold, Harry Dessel, and Will Hall. Bobby Leopold obviously is a RI legend, golf legend. We talked to him in the RI Amateur Series. It was great. And then Harry Dessel is one of the top high school players. He just played down at the North-South Amateur at Pinehurst, obviously from Moses Brown. That doesn't sound too good there, buddy. And so
Yeah, I got a little junk.
So those are the 4 groups that I picked. Obviously, there's plenty of interesting groups. Obviously, Tommy's group and Jamie's group and other guys. But those are 4 groups that I thought were interesting, had interesting pairings. And to be honest, I'm really excited for the Hamilton Max Jackson pairing. That'll be a fun combination to watch on Monday at 12 p.m. And then obviously, they have the early tee time on Tuesday. They flip one or the other. So it's just like the PGA Tour. So those are the 4 feature groups. So let's do this. We did a course breakdown. We talked about some of the feature groups. Let's take a commercial break now for our promo. And then when we come back, Rich, I want to tell the people what the best places to watch where the best places to watch are, and then we'll do a favorites thing. I put the funny little package on that. We'll pick our winners, and then we'll be done with it. So let's hit the promo. We'll be back. We're going to tell you where to watch the amateur at Kirkbride Country Club next week. Stay tuned. Billy Andre joins the show. Billy, thanks so much for doing this, and we appreciate you taking the time.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
I'm very excited to be joined by an 11-time Emmy Award winner, and that is Armin Katayan.
Massachusetts Women's Amateur Champion Allison Paik.
The days of the country club just being golf and maybe one amenity are gone. Unfortunately, Metacomet doesn't have those.
He has a very rare condition called kyphoscoliotic Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. And at the time of diagnosis, there was only 60 documented cases in the world.
I mean, we legitimately played the last 4 holes at Newport National. You could not see 50 yards.
And we're back here at the Golf Dudes Podcast. Joe Clabber, Rich Capelli. We're doing a full breakdown of the RI amateur field. Really fun conversations that we've had. Some great contributions from people in the comments. We started with course breakdown and course setup, and then we did some feature groups. And now, for those who are going to watch the amateur at Kirkbride next week, I'll be there every day. But Joel wants to know: are we going to get Rich's lock of the week? We're going to pick winners later. We'll see if he locks it in or not. But we could be. I'm not sure if he won his lock of the week. I'm not sure what the Vegas.
Well,
are
we saying we got action on this? Let's go. We can get some people down there. We can grab some action down there.
Well, depending on who you talk to, they might. You never know.
I bet you there's a little bit.
Man. So I want to get into the best places to watch the amateur. Best place to watch the amateur at Kirkbride. I have a few picked out. I'm sure you have some of the same ones. So right off the jump, I'm gonna say the most obvious one, and this is gonna sound completely ridiculous and obvious, but the deck. You can see the first tee, the 10th tee, the 18th green, and if you take a 2-minute walk, you can go see the 9th green. So it sounds completely obvious.
Yep.
I get it. I know. Yep. but it is a place to watch, and it's a pretty good spot, depending on So I'll throw the obvious one out there. What ones are you thinking?
All right, so I'm just gonna run through mine because we both know the course. I mean, you've been there for years, but let me just run through mine. All right, so first spot is what I said earlier. That's the 6th tee. You have the 6th tee, the 5th green. You have the first
tee.
green,
The second
the
tee.
second tee.
Yep.
Yeah, the first green. And you also have in the distance you have the second tee in the distance. Correct. That's my first little thing right there. I would say probably where the water cooler is on 6. Correct.
Yes, there's like a tree.
Is that,
you have
right to the left of the first fairway.
The second no, that's 8 you're thinking about, which is a spot too.
That's 8. I'm sorry. I lied. I'm sorry. Not 6. I meant 8. I'm sorry.
So 6 is still a spot. That's still a good spot because you still have the second tee and you have the fifth green. The 6th tee runs adjacent to the second tee. Remember they were talking about moving the tee box.
I meant 8. I meant 8.
So
my
8.
bad.
Yep.
Sorry.
So 8. I had 8 listed as well. So 8, you have the 8th tee.
Yep.
You have the 7th green. And then you have the second tee, just a short walk away. Obviously, you have the 8th,
and then you have the
first
green
hole
too.
And you have the first hole. That's right. You actually have the entire first hole. You can watch them tee off and play the first hole, and then the second tee is a few yards away. All right, go ahead.
All right, my second one is the 12th tee box. So you have the 14th tee box before you hit the bend.
That's a good
before
one.
you hit the dog leg right.
I didn't have that one. Good for you.
Legitimately where the cart girl sits, right there at the water cooler. So you have 14 at the bend.
Now wait a minute. I know why you picked that. Because the cart girl's there. Come on now.
Obviously, I've been there a lot. So you have 14.
That's a good one. Go ahead. Yep.
You have 14. If you stand where the cart girl stands, you might be able to see their tee shots when they hit around the corner if the tee box is tipped out. You have the 12th tee box, which is the par 5, which is we said is you got to have a birdie on that hole, and then you have the 11th green.
No, that's the second. That's the second
which
green,
is,
but yes.
So, I'm sorry, the second green. Jesus, I'm getting all screwed up. And the second green. So that's a nice little area. Plus, you can actually if you take a walk past the 14th tee box towards the back, you can see 13, and you can see a little bit of the fairway on 12 as well. So.
Yep.
Those are probably my 2. Also, you can probably grab a seat at 4, in between 4 and 3, because then you have 4th tee box, 4th green. Then you have the par 5 to the left, and then in the distance you can see the fifth tee box. So that's my 3 big spots.
Right,
let's see what you got.
Most of those are the same. I said the 4th green because you have the 3rd green right there. You obviously have the whole 4th hole, then you have the 5th tee box right there, and then in 6.
And especially with these guys taking aim at the, especially with these guys taking aim at the par 5 and 2, there's going to be missiles coming into that green, you know.
Yep. All right, so we actually hit on a lot of the same ones, and we didn't talk before the show as far as production meeting or anything. So we both think alike. But I have might have the best place, the single best place to watch the RA Amateur this week. Between 10, 17, and 18, there's that little green space. You can watch the 10,
17. Oh, yeah, where the water fountain is.
Yeah. It's the 10th fairway, and then you have the 17th tee right there, as you know. 18 comes the other way.
And then the 18th fairway, yep.
And then if you just take a little bit of a walk, the 16th green is right next to the 17th tee. So that's right there.
Yeah.
And then if you take a short walk.
That's a sneaky.
So
that's a sneaky good spot right there, dude.
That's the single best place to watch golf this week. And then if you take a short walk, the 15th tee is right next to the 17th, fairway. It's a little bit of a walk, but it's not too much. So that's the sneaky.
I remember watching the Ryder Cup from there. Yep, you're right.
The little area between 10, 17, and 18. You just walk between those 3 holes. You get a bonus 2 holes, and you see almost the whole thing. Now, obviously, this really works well for the stroke play portion. Obviously, when match play starts, it gets a little trickier because obviously you have to wait for these guys to get there. But generally speaking, those are the places to watch. So if you're coming to the Amateur at Kirkbride first of all, welcome to Kirkbride, and second of all, keep in mind those four spots, really 5 spots, because you actually added a few, 5 or 6, whatever it is. And so, for those that are curious, I am going to write this down. It will be on the slide. We're going to have it as part of our preview. You don't have to remember it, but I'm going to jot this down.
And
go ahead.
I highly recommend the deck. The deck is a nice spot. I highly recommend it.
Not only because you can get drinks, but because it actually is a cool spot to watch from.
It is an actual cool spot.
And especially if these guys are going to be trying to go for the 10th green, you can actually see it. You can actually see it from there. Actually, real quick, if we go back to the strategy section of our conversation, because that's one that I completely forgot about. How many guys are going to drive the 10th? Try to drive the green on 10. Obviously, it depends a little bit where the tee box is. The guys I played
when we were there,
for the record.
So when we were there on Thursday, it all depends. Like where the tee box was set up for the Blues, that small tree to the left was right in the way. Obviously, I don't really think it matters for those guys. They got to be hitting like 4 or 5 iron if they're going to get over those trees, right? They can put it on the green with a 4 or 5 iron, I would assume. And what did you say? That the majority of them said that they're not going to go for it?
Well, no, I wouldn't say the majority of them. The few guys that I talked to said they're probably not going to go for it. They said if they're in a pickle in match play, maybe they try it just because you might have to.
Okay, all right.
But the guy I play with, Cannon, and he hits the ball a long way. Joe Santinello's a bit older. He doesn't quite hit it. He still hits the ball good. I'm not trying to insult the guy. But yeah. Cannon hit a 4 iron, and he hooked it around the trees, and he had like 40 yards in or whatever that awkward distance is.
Oh, yeah, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. That's good.
And so I think that's what a lot of guys will do. But depending on where the tee boxes are, depending on what the match play situation is, I think you'll probably see some guys go for it. Real quickly, then I want to get this package on favorites, and then we want to kind of get out of here. Chris Miranda asks, is Davis Chatfield playing the RA Am? Sorry, Chris. Davis is not playing the RA Amateur. He did qualify for the U.S. Amateur, for what that's worth, but he's not playing the RA Amateur. The only notable collegiate that is playing this year is Andrew O'Leary. Chatfield is not playing. A few people have asked me that this week, and he's not playing. Not enough World Amateur Golf ranking points for him. He actually loses points if he plays.
That's right. That was one of the instances. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yep.
So sorry, Davis Chatfield is not playing in the field. And again, a few people have asked me. That's fine. That's what we're here for. But that's just to clarify. So we want to pick our own favorites. But first, we want to hear from these guys who they pick. We got some interesting answers. It was a fun editing this little thing together. I kind of edited it a little bit so they can respond to each other, and it's kind of came out pretty good. So let's roll that. We'll come back with our favorites, and then we're going to wrap up this RA Amateur preview. We will have tons of content for you all weekend long. So hit it.
I feel like I definitely have a lot to prove. I haven't, I've made strides, but I haven't really got to that next level. So I feel like myself is, I definitely wouldn't bet against myself. I think that's kind of crazy talk, but.
No, definitely not going to pick myself. I think this year is unique, and I'm really not just saying this. I think this is a very unique year because I legitimately think there's 20 to 25 guys that could easily win that event.
It'd be I mean, Hamilton, being a member there, he and Tommy. I'd love to play Tommy again. He's one of my good friends. I beat him last year. Yep. I got him good last year.
Tommy McCormick and I have gone back and forth a few times. In match play, he's pretty much had the better of me every single time. He's a stalwart. He plays that place every day, or a lot. Knows it very well. I think he's going to be tough to beat. He's obviously playing some good golf at the moment. I think his game sets up pretty well. He chips and putts it pretty damn good and keeps it in front of himself. I'd love to play against Tommy in the final. If it was me and him in the final, that'd be great. I like competing against him. I think he's just a very good competitor. So we'll see. But
Bobby was on the right path by saying a guy like Tommy, because I think he's pound for pound, he's maybe the best match play player that I've ever seen. It's fascinating how incredibly mentally strong he is on a golf course. I've learned a ton from him over the years. And to be honest with you, I don't know if I'd be the player I am today without, some of his guidance and some of his help. And then, people are forgetting about guys like, how about Tyler Cook or, God, I mean, the names go on and on.
I wouldn't pick me, but I mean, listen, there's literally 30 guys, 40 guys that can do it. I mean, Billy Forsey's name wasn't mentioned. I see Valoy up here all the time now. That kid's one of the most talented people in the world I've ever seen. Bobby is a cyborg. I mean, he's just a robot, just the way he hits it. Jamie Hamilton, even Larry LaFauci, my partner, is playing incredible. John Alclair's been up here 30 years. Tyler Cook. I mean, the list goes. I mean, I could just rattle off, 50 names right now. But
I would say there's probably, what did Tommy say, 30? Or
Tommy said there's probably 30 to 40 guys.
He was being nice.
Really?
Yeah, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think there's probably max 20 guys.
As always, Bobby, Jamie, myself, Tyler, depends on how each one of us is playing, but we'll see. And hopefully we get some good fireworks this year with a great course setup.
All right, you heard what they had to say. Had a fun time editing this morning. It was fun. Tried to have them all kind of respond to each other inadvertently. We have some other things coming up this weekend. I have tons of video content. Do a little teaser trailer with Tommy McCormick and Jamie Lukowitz's trash talk back and forth. So they'll appreciate that. And so we'll have some other video features coming up. These will all be posted on our Facebook page over the next couple days. I don't know exactly the order yet. But I'm going to post them on the Facebook page so you can watch them over and over and over again. So anyway, we heard these guys talk. I know, Rich, you're not a big amateur golf guy. You're learning as we go here, but you're friendly with a lot of these guys. You know a lot of them. So do I. What do you think? What do you think for the amateur? And are you locking it, as Joe Bassett asks?
I don't know enough about these other guys to lock it per se. But I'm going with good old Bright Eyes. I'm going with Hammy. I'm going with Scotty Boulis's boy over there. I'm going to go with Hammy. I like Tommy too. But like I said, I don't really have enough knowledge of how these other guys play to actually pick a true winner. I'm pretty much going off of like fanboy status of who I would like to see win. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Hammy with virtually no knowledge of these other guys that are playing. So that's my pick.
Yeah, I mean he's a good pick. He struggled mightily at the Northeast Amateur. He said the course.
And that's another reason why I think another reason why I think he'll play well.
But he since played well. He played well in the U.S. Amateur qualifier. He kind of had a tough second round, but he was 5 under after 9 holes on the first round, and he played pretty well. And he's played well at Kirkbride. He shot 67 in his 4-ball match this past weekend. Won. So him and Doug Caniglia, who's also playing the RA Amateur, by the way.
Yes, good luck, Doug.
Hammy's a good. Hammy's still a good pick. I'm going. This guy has kind of been off the radar. We had him on the RA Amateur Series. Brad Valoy. He just qualified, made the cut for the U.S. Amateur. He struggled with his confidence over the last year or two. This guy's Tommy McCormick said that Brad Valoy is the best player he's ever played against or ever seen, or however he phrased it. So I'm going with Brad Valoy.
The best talent.
Yeah, the best talent he's ever seen. Brad has struggled with his confidence, as I mentioned, as he said in our interview. But he lit it up at the U.S. Amateur qualifier, buried the last 3 holes to get in. So I guess confidence isn't an issue anymore. I guess he's found that problem. Yep. But also, I think under the radar guy, and like these guys said, no one's really talking about, is Tyler Cook. Tyler Cook's a really good player, and he should be in the mix come match play. So that's what we got. We look forward to seeing you all at the RA Amateur. Rich, unless you have any other quick notes, we can wrap this puppy up and let everyone get on with their lives.
I got one thing.
All right, go ahead.
I got one thing.
Yep.
Shout out to our boy Billy Andrade, tied for the lead at the U.S. Senior Open at Omaha. Just want to say that.
All right, yeah, that's after the first round. First round complete.
That's after the first round. I know it's early, but still, had a great round today. That's going to be on Golf Channel all weekend. I mean, nobody really cares about the John Deere Classic, so you can just swipe over on Golf Channel for the U.S. Senior Open.
Well, we'll be tracking that all week. I'm sure Brett Quigley is probably in the field as well. So we'll be certainly tracking that this weekend, as well as getting ready for the RA Amateur. Stay tuned for all of our RA Amateur content. Again, these videos will be posted on our Facebook page and probably in articles as well. And there'll be also some other videos coming as well, tons of sound clips. We're still hoping to finish off the RA Amateur series with 2 more episodes, and so we'll keep you posted on that as well. Just to Chris Miranda says, I work at Crestwood and saw Davis in action. Quite the swing speed. Yes, he's a great player. He dominated the field at Crestwood for the U.S. Amateur Qualifier, and it'll be fun to watch him in the Amateur. Joel Bassett says, Joe, you should put a pick your winner poll up. I meant looking to doing that. That sounds like a good idea. And then Chris says,
yeah, let's do that.
16 at Crestwood played as the hardest hole. Awesome. And I'm sure Davis Chatfield dominated. And unfortunately, he's not playing this week. Everyone's fascinated with Davis. He's made big waves at the Northeast Amateur, but he's in the U.S. Amateur, and we'll certainly be providing coverage of that when we get there in August. So Joel Bissett says, great show, guys. And on that note, we will talk to you this weekend. Stay tuned for all kinds of content. And we'll have you covered right up until the opening tee shot of the RA Amateur, and then we'll be live. We'll be at the RA Amateur every single day of the week. At least I will be. Rich will be joining me on a couple of days, and then we'll have tons of content from there as well. And so stay tuned for all that, videos, live blogs, and you name it. We're going to try to pull it off. So super excited for next week. Super excited for the weekend of content and everything else. So good luck to our guy Billy Andrade and Brett Quigley, who's I'm sure playing. And we'll talk to you guys next week, tentatively live from Kirkbrake Country Club and the RA Amateur. Have a good weekend. Stay safe during tomorrow's hurricane or tropical storm, whatever it is. All right, we're out before we get in trouble.